Hello students, it is lecture number 19 in principles of inheritance and variation we are going to see here. So almost we are at the end of this chapter. Yesterday or in the previous class, lecture number 18, I was telling you about the Mendelian disorders or genic disorders. You may recall, Mendelian disorders will be either caused due to point mutation or due to frame shift mutation. Point mutation will be referring to a mutation at a single nucleotide. When one nucleotide alone gets altered, it is called a single nucleotide mutation or otherwise point mutation. When a group of nucleotides are added or deleted, that will be called as frame shift mutation, it can be called. You will be inserting a group of nucleotides or you will be removing a group of nucleotides. That is called insertion or deletion of nucleotides or frame shift mutation, it can be called. In addition to these two types, please listen. The first one is about point mutation. Second one is about frame shift mutation. In addition to these two types of mutation, there is a third type of genetic disorder also observed among human population. Starting from pedigree, we are talking about human population only. Third type of condition, it is called as chromosomal aberration, it can be called. Chromosomal aberrations. Aberrations refers to some harmful condition or some kind of change, it can be called. When number of chromosomes are altered in an individual, it will be called as a chromosomal aberration. In this class or in this lecture, we are going to study about all these three types of mutations in detail. So when we complete these three types of mutation with the examples, this chapter will be completed. Okay, right. Let me come to some of the disorders described in your textbook we are going to discuss here. Okay. First, I am not going in order about point mutation and other things. Generally, we will see about different type of conditions or genic disorders in this lecture. The first thing, the first type of condition we have to remember here is about color blindness. Let us see. Color blindness. One of the important type of genetic disorder we are going to study here, that is called color blindness. This color blindness, when a person is affected by color blindness, he will be unable to distinguish between red and green color actually. When a person is unable to distinguish between red and green color, it will be generally called as a color blindness. There may be some condition where green and blue color, red and blue color like that will also be not differentiated. Why this type of color blindness is caused? Why they are unable to distinguish red and green color means? It is due to the defectiveness in the rods and cones of our eye. Remember, rods and cone cells of our eye, when they become defective, when they do not produce a particular protein, then it will become what is that, color blind for that person. You know that rod and cone cells in first year structure of eye, anatomy of eye we have seen. There you will come across rod and cone cells of our eye. Defective rod and cone cells of the eye will be responsible for producing color blindness. Why this defect is caused? How it is caused means color blindness is caused due to very important point and X-linked recessive disorder it is called. It is caused due to an X-linked recessive gene actually. And very important point, it is not an autosomal linked gene, it is an X chromosome linked gene. It is not Y chromosome linked, it is an X-linked recessive gene actually. It is not a dominant gene, it is a recessive gene. So remember, what is responsible for color blindness means X-linked recessive gene is responsible for color blindness. Okay, now let us see how the individual affected with color blindness will have genotype. Very important point. We have to know the genotype in order to understand the transmission of the character. If at all a normal visioned woman is there means a woman with normal vision will be having a gene, otherwise what is that? Chromosomal complement like 44 autosomes. Remember, in autosome there won't be change. 44 autosomes will be there and she will be having 2 X chromosome. You know that point. When such a woman is having normal vision, her rods and cone cells are functioning properly means what kind of genotype she will have? She will have capital C genes located on the X chromosome. Imagine when a woman has got 2 capital C alleles on each on her X chromosomes means she will be having normal vision. She could distinguish red, green and blue color, everything. She will be exhibiting normal vision. When the woman will become colorblind means, that means what will be the genotype of a colorblind woman? I will write it here. She will also have 44 autosomes, no change in the autosomes. But in allosomes what is happening means 2 X chromosomes are there, each one will be having the small c gene here. Remember this point. When a woman has got 2 small c on her X chromosome, she will suffer due to colorblind nature. Same thing, you can understand another point, another condition you can remember. Of course, both of them are homozygous only. This is capital C homozygous. This is small c homozygous. There is no need of doubt. That's why I told you color blindness is caused due to recessive gene. You know, recessive gene will be exhibited only when there is homozygosity. Why, sir, a woman shouldn't she have a heterozygous condition? That means, imagine, if at all there is a woman with 44 autosomes and XX chromosome, her one X chromosome has got capital C, another X chromosome has got small c, means she will be heterozygous in nature. Remember, such a heterozygous woman will be having normal vision only. She will have normal vision women only, but she will be a carrier of this small c. Remember, she will be carrying one small c. In spite of having one small c, she will have normal vision only. Why means law of dominance. Capital C will dominate over small c and her vision will not be affected. She will be normal vision female only. Okay, these are the 3 possible genotypes in a woman. One is normal vision woman with 2 capital C homozygosity. Another one is colorblind female with 2 small c over her X chromosome. Normal vision but carrier women, heterozygous women. Carrier women will be heterozygous. I hope you got this point. She will be carrying one small c, but she is not affected. Okay. Then we come to male genotype. Normal vision male. What type of genotype he will have? Let us see. A male normal vision will be having 44 autosomes. One X chromosome and one Y chromosome will be present in him. When he is normal vision, he will be having one capital C over the X chromosome. Remember, Y chromosome will not have its corresponding allele. There won't be any corresponding allele on the Y chromosome. Why? X and Y are not homologous chromosome. Y chromosome is different, X chromosome is different. When they are two different chromosomes, the genes present in them will also be different. Y chromosome is obtained from father, X chromosome is obtained from mother. But X chromosome will have capital C, corresponding allele will not be there on the Y chromosome. You see, in autosome there are pairs of alleles. In the male autosome, even in the female autosome, there are pairs of alleles. But in male, this condition is called neither homozygosity nor heterozygosity, but it is called hemizygous condition. Males are hemizygous. Remember this point. Males are what? Hemizygous. I am introducing a new word here. Homozygous, you know. Heterozygous, you know. Hemizygous, I am introducing. Homozygous means if the homologous chromosomes have similar alleles. A pair of similar alleles present on homologous chromosome will be called homozygosity. A pair of dissimilar allele present is called heterozygosity. But one of the chromosomes have allele, another chromosome does not have any corresponding allele, means it is called hemizygosity. So males are hemizygous. Okay, let me come to colorblind male. What will be the genotype of a colorblind male? Let us see. Colorblind male will also be having 44 autosomes and X and Y chromosome. But X chromosome will be containing small c here. Remember this point. If X chromosome contains small c, he will become colorblind male, and capital C of the male will be present in X chromosome, means he will be a normal vision male, we can say. I told you 5 types of genotypes with reference to color blindness. XX, capital C, capital C. XX, small c, XX, capital C, small c, okay. And here only capital C, only small c. Dear students, try to understand the difference between a colorblind female and a colorblind male. You try to get this point. This is a principle of an inheritance we are going to read here. Colorblind female, when a female will become colorblind, only when she has 2 small c in her. If at all one of the small c is replaced by capital C, she will become normal vision. But a male will become colorblind even for the presence of a single small c in him. When a male will become colorblind, just because of one small c, single dose of small c is enough, he will become colorblind. 2 doses of small c is required for making a female to be colorblind. So, who is more prone for X-linked recessive disorder, or who is more prone for colorblindness? Means males are more prone for colorblindness than the female. Colorblindness is rare in the female. Remember this point. Colorblindness is rare among females. But in males, it will be often present. Why? Single small c is enough, he will become colorblind. For female to be colorblind, 2 small c's are required. Now let me come to another point. You imagine one point, in this female, colorblind female, 2 X chromosomes are there, means One is obtained from her father, another one is obtained from her mother. So father should contribute one small c, mother should contribute one small c. Then only she will become colorblind. Do you get my point? Father should contribute one small c, mother should contribute one small c. Let us come to this point. If a woman has got one capital, two small c in her means, where from she gets that capital small c? One from the father, her father, another one is from her mother. Her father should be giving small c, and he will be having one Y chromosome. His Y chromosome will not come to his daughter because Y chromosome will go to sons only. Mother has to give one small c. That means mother is having two capital X means X means in that minimum one small c should be present, one capital C should be present. Then that means carrier mother will give one small c to her daughter. Or otherwise, the mother can be colorblind herself. Either the mother should be colorblind or she should be carrier. If she is normal vision, if she has both capital C, her daughter will never become colorblind. Do you get my point? A normal vision mother will not a carrier mother. Normal vision mother cannot make a colorblind daughter. Then which mother will make a colorblind daughter? Either the mother should be colorblind herself or she should be a carrier. Then only this daughter will become colorblind. What is the chance of daughter becoming colorblind? Carrier mother or colorblind mother should be there. Father should be compulsory colorblind. So colorblind father, carrier mother or colorblind mother will be able to pass this to the daughter. A female will become colorblind only by this method. But what about son means? Imagine a son is colorblind means he will be having one small c over his X chromosome. X chromosome of the son comes from whom? Mother. Mother will give rise to X chromosome. She is giving X chromosome means she must be having at least one small c. Or she may be having both small c also. And father gives Y chromosome. So father's X chromosome may be capital C or small c. It does not affect his son. Why only he contribute to the son? So remember, a son will get his Y chromosome from the father. He will get his X chromosome from the mother. So who is responsible for a male to be colorblind? Means only the mother. Mother is responsible for a son to be colorblind. But for a daughter to be colorblind, mother alone, mother can save her daughter. Because of carrierness, if she gives capital C here, means she will become normal vision daughter. So compulsory small c comes to the son means he will become colorblind. So sons are affected by mother's X chromosome. Daughters have to inherit two X chromosome, affected X chromosome. Both of them should be colorblind. Or one carrier and one should be compulsorily colorblind. Then only the daughter will become colorblind. This is the pattern of inheritance exhibited by colorblindness. Let me explain you about different possible types of marriages with reference to colorblindness or possible types of inheritance we will see. Make note of this point, I will continue. Listen here, what is colorblindness? These people are unable to distinguish red and green color because the rods and cone cells of the eye are affected here. Where this gene is located, it is an X-linked recessive gene. Normal vision women will have capital C. Colorblind women will have small c, double dose. Normal vision women can have capital C, small c also, but she will be called carrier. Why she is carrier? She carries that gene to the next generation, but not herself affected. Mother is not affected herself because she is dominated by capital C. But she can donate that small c to her daughter or to his son, her son compulsory. Similarly, normal vision male will be X capital C Y. Color-blind male will be X small c Y. That means single dose. Color blindness is rare among females than males. That means males are most affected because of its X-linked recessive gene. Let us continue this one further with some examples. Okay? Just make it. Okay, students, let me continue about pattern of different ways of inheritance of color blindness in human population. Let us see. Just it is like a monohybrid class only, because we take only one character called vision. And with reference to color blindness, who discovered, who reported about this disorder for the first time is the name of the scientist who reported here about this is Horner. Remember, in the year 1876, like that, he reported about color blindness actually. Okay. Horner reported about color blindness in 1876. What are the possible methods of inheritance in human population? Please listen. We can derive some point here. There may be a normal visioned female marrying a normal visioned male. That can be one type of marriage. There can be a carrier female, carrier but a normal visioned female marrying a normal visioned male also. That can be another possible marriage. This can be asked in 2 more questions, 3 more questions also. There is a third possibility with reference to color blindness. A color blind female may marry a normal visioned male also. Colorblind female marrying a normal visioned male. Of course, this normal visioned male is blessed. Why means she will not trouble him that she wants only that particular saree, particular colored jewelry like that. So he is blessed. Anyhow, colorblind female, normal versus male we can have. Similarly, there can be a possibility of a normal visioned female marrying a colorblind male also. These are some of the possibilities. Let us come to another point, another method also. There can be a marriage between a colorblind female marrying a colorblind male also. Both the parents are colorblind. That is also possible. There can be another method also. A carrier, normal visioned female marrying colorblind male also. That is another possibility we can see. Like this, various possibilities are there for inheritance in the human population with reference to color blindness. Let us come to the first one. I am not going to explain everything in detail. Normal vision female means we have to take two X chromosome. Let us take capital C, capital C. She is normal vision. Whom she is marrying, normal vision male. That means X and Y, where capital C is present. Now you can derive, I told you the genotype of the parents. You can derive the gametes, fertilization, offspring and what will be the children progeny you can write. Okay. Second one is color carrier female with normal vision male. Carrier female with normal vision male. Carrier female can be capital C, small c. Carrier female. Who is normal vision? Capital C, Y. He is normal vision male. Capital C, small c is colorblind. Carrier female. She is normal vision only according to law of dominance. Okay. Third possibility is colorblind female with normal vision male. Colorblind female. Same. Okay. Small c, colorblind female. With the normal vision male, I have to write capital C, Y we can. Do you get this point? In male there is no carrier because it will be always hemizygous, not even heterozygous. Let us come to normal vision female and colorblind male. Normal vision female, female means capital XX we are taking. Normal vision means capital C, capital C. Okay, normal vision female versus colorblind male we can say, that is small c, it can be written. See different genotypes and how they are going to inherit, we can identify. Each one is worth of a 2-mark question. Sometimes they will give you offspring genotype and ask you to find out whether the mother is heterozygous or homozygous, whether she is carrier or colorblind, that will be asked. Okay. Colorblind female versus colorblind male. Remember XX, where small c, male means XY, where small c is there. Okay, small c. Carrier female and colorblind male, XX, and what is that? Carrier means capital C, small c. Heterozygous. Colorblind male means small c we can. Do you get this point? 6 types of marriages are possible with reference to inheritance pattern of color blindness. Each one will give you different things, just like we saw in the blood group inheritance. Here also we can see about color blind inheritance. Remember. Lastly, one point here is color blindness. Even we will tell about hemophilia now. After that, I will tell you one more point. So make note of this one. Try to derive the offspring genotype for each one so that you can understand the pattern of X-linked recessive inheritance. Make note of this. Okay, students, we are seeing about genic disorder or Mendelian disorder. Among the Mendelian disorders, first type I explained to you was about color blindness. It was reported by Harder in 1876, remember. Then I told you it is an X-linked recessive disorder. Of course, Arnold told about color blindness. Later, whether it is X-linked or Y-linked, everything was studied later. Second type of Mendelian disorder or gene disorder we are going to see here is about hemophilia. The next type we are going to see here is about hemophilia. This disorder called hemophilia was reported by John Otto. A scientist called John Otto has described about hemophilia. When it was done in 1803 itself. This disorder is also related, or otherwise this disorder is defined as delayed clotting of the blood via. Delayed clotting of the blood is otherwise known as what is that? Hemophilia. What is meant by delayed clotting of the blood? When we get any small injury or minor injury in our blood vessels, blood will start coming out, oozing out. In a normal person, within 4 minutes of time, that blood flow out of the body will be stopped. How it is stopped? The blood will become solidified, solid at the cut portion or cut injured portion. That mechanism of solidifying the blood is called clotting of blood via. In first year you have heard about mechanism of clotting of blood. According to that mechanism, we have seen that there are several proteins involved or necessary for clotting of blood, along with calcium and other enzymes also. So many types of proteins are involved in clotting of blood. Those proteins are called cascade of protein. That means one by one, sequentially they will work. One among the proteins required for clotting of blood is factor 8 protein via. Factor 8. This factor 8 is one of the responsible proteins for the normal clotting of the blood. Suppose if the factor 8 is not produced in a person, imagine, or if it is defective in nature, imagine, if the protein is defective, non-functional, means then that person will suffer due to delayed clotting of the blood. How sir it will become non-functional? Because of mutation. So there is a mutation which will result in the defective production of non-factor 8 protein or no production of factor 8 protein. Due to that, clotting of blood will not take place quickly or normally. It may be delayed. If at all there is a major injury, means even that clotting will be not at all happening also. A minor injuries will be helpful for clotting, of course. Even for a normal person, big accidents won't save him. But minor injuries will result in clotting of the blood. Okay, how this factor 8 produced, what is the gene present here means? This particular gene for hemophilia is also present in X-linked condition only. So it is also caused due to X-linked recessive gene only. Just like color blindness, where that is also X-linked recessive gene, it is also an example for X-linked recessive gene. Now naturally we can come to some conclusion here. Depending upon that hemophilia, X-linked recessive condition, we can come for some genotypes. Listen here. If a female has got both capital H over her X chromosome, she will be having normal clotting. So normal clotting will be there. There won't be delayed clotting. She can live long time or long duration. Her lifespan will be increased definitely because she has got normal clotting. Minor injuries cannot do her any harm. Okay. If at all a woman has got capital H on one X chromosome and a small h on another X chromosome, heterozygosity, she will be called as carrier female because she is carrying small h to the next generation. But at the same time, she will remain unaffected herself. She will not suffer due to that problem because one capital H is there, it will produce some protein. With that, she will just prolong to survive. That is a carrier female but unaffected herself. She is unaffected herself. Remember this point. If at all a woman is having both the small h on her X chromosome means, she will be considered as a hemophilic female, we can say. Hemophilic female. Very dangerous condition. Such a hemophilic female will not be surviving for complete term. Before reaching adulthood, even in childhood itself, she may die. Even for a normal physiological menstrual bleeding, she will be not able to survive, withstand. Lot of blood loss will be happening in her body. That is called a hemophilic female. It is an unviable condition. This condition is called unviable. What is meant by unviable? They die in the childhood itself. They don't reach adulthood or survive for many more years. What about a male means? Male will have X and Y chromosome. Y and X are not homologous, they are hemizygous. X chromosome contains capital H only. There is no corresponding allele for H on the Y chromosome. It's not, they are non-homologous chromosomes. Such a male will be normal male. Normal male means he will have normal clotting of the blood. Minor injuries which happens during shaving or other process, even by when we sharpen a pencil, we may get minor injury. Such things will not affect him anything, even normal male and this normal woman like that. But if at all a male is having small h gene in his X chromosome means, he will suffer due to hemophilia. Hemophilia male will be, what is that, possible when there is one small h on the X chromosome. Y chromosome doesn't bother, does not influence anything here. It is hemophilic male, we can say. Hemophilia male or hemophilic male. Even this male will also be unable to survive for long duration. It is also an unviable condition in human population. So in human population, you cannot come across hemophilic male and female living for many years. If carrier can live, normal women, normal man can live. Anyhow, this is hemophilic. Now students, just by seeing the chromosomal complement, we can say that this male will inherit X chromosome from his mother. You know, sex determination. Y chromosome from his father. If you take a hemophilic female means, one of her X chromosome has come from mother, maternal. Another X chromosome has come from father, paternal. Now, both the parents should be having at least small h, one small h. Father should be compulsorily hemophilic. Mother can be a carrier. Do you get this point? Heterozygous. This condition is generally also not possible. Why means that a hemophilic father will not be able to survive up to adulthood. Very rare. Sometimes it is possible. Anyhow, but a male becoming hemophilic is quite possible than the female. Do you get my point? A complete hemophilic female is not much possible. Why? Because her father does not live up to adulthood to contribute her a small age like that male. Paternal gene will not be there up to adulthood. But here for a male, mother can contribute if she is a carrier. That's why in your textbook if you see means unaffected parents, heterozygous parent will give rise to hemophilic male, hemophilic female, like that we are telling. Anyhow, this is the condition regarding hemophilia. One interesting point is this hemophilia is otherwise known as royal disease also, because in British Queen Victoria's family, this disease is found to be getting inherited generation after generation, especially among the males actually. That queen was suffering due to factor VIII defective protein, but she inherited it as a carrier. She passed it to some of her offspring also. So it is called royal family disease or royal disease, it can be called. Now remember, this will also be following the same type of inheritance like that of color blindness. Just color blindness, just now I explained to you. What will be the possible marriages between the human beings? Of course, hemophilic male, hemophilic female is not possible. Both of them are unviable. Color blindness is possible. Throughout their lifetime, they may not be showing their color blind at all. Whatever they see red and green, they don't bother actually. But hemophilia cannot be hidden. Is it not? They may face minor injury during their lifetime, and they will come across that delayed clotting of the blood. Okay students, lastly, one very important point I am going to tell you with reference to both color blindness and hemophilia. What did that mean? Both of them are X-linked recessive disorder. X-linked recessive disorder. What is the X-linked recessive disorders pattern of inheritance means? It exhibits one special method of inheritance called criss-cross inheritance. Of course, in your textbook it is not explained clear in time. But remember this word criss-cross inheritance. What is meant by criss-cross inheritance means? If at all a male is affected by any of this X-linked recessive gene, whether color blindness or hemophilia, whatever it is, he will give it to another male only in the alternate generation. First generation male will give it to third generation male only. How he will give it to third generation male means through his daughter. Remember this point. Through a daughter of the first generation male will pass that gene to third generation male through his daughter. So, alternative generations will be exhibiting hemophilia and color blindness if at all it is passing through the males. Are you getting my point? A male to male inheritance through a carrier daughter. This daughter will be carrier. Male to male inheritance through a carrier daughter is called criss-cross inheritance, or otherwise zigzag inheritance. Male, then female, then male. Again from him to his daughter, then another grandson. Again daughter, grandson. Like that it will go. When such a pattern of inheritance is there, it is called criss-cross inheritance. Who is exhibiting criss-cross inheritance? Only an X-linked recessive gene will exhibit that criss-cross inheritance. Not a dominant gene. It must be X-linked, not autosomal linked. It must be X-linked, it must be recessive gene. Make note of hemophilia. I will continue further. Okay. Let me continue about some more genic disorders. We have seen two types of genic disorders so far. One is color blindness, another one is hemophilia. Let me continue with some more type of genic disorders. Sorry. The third type of genic disorder is about phenylketonuria. We have to see here. It is commonly called as PKU. Already I told you about this phenylketonuria in another aspect, where we studied about pleiotropism. There we come across phenylketonuria also. Pleiotropism. What is pleiotropism? One gene product exhibiting many characters or altering many characters. So one gene product or gene controlling many characters is called pleiotropism. In phenylketonuria, it is considered as an inborn error of metabolism. It is an example for inborn error of metabolism action. That means even before birth itself, one metabolic problem will be created in that affected person. Where this, what is this phenylketonuria means? You know, there is an amino acid called phenylalanine. This amino acid is present in the food we take, or generally it may be present in our body also. This phenylalanine will undergo metabolism in our body, and it has to be converted into another amino acid called tyrosine. Remember, during metabolism, phenylalanine should be converted into tyrosine. For this conversion, there are several intermediary steps are there. It is not becoming tyrosine in one step only. There are several intermediary steps. Each step is controlled by one enzyme. That enzyme is controlled by one gene action. Remember this point. There is a final enzyme required here, that is called phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. It is called phenylalanine hydroxylase. If that phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme becomes defective in a person, what will happen means he will be unable to convert this intermediary product into tyrosine. Of course, phenylalanine will be used, but it won't become final product. It will accumulate in our body as an intermediary product. Who is that intermediary product? Phenylpyruvic acid, it is called phenylpyruvic acid. So when this enzyme becomes defective, phenylpyruvic acid will accumulate in our body. Due to that accumulation, what will happen? Swelling of our legs called edema will be taking place. Discoloration of skin and hair will be taking place. Discoloration of body parts like that will be taking place. Mental retardation will be caused due to what is that accumulation of this phenylpyrrolic acid in our brain cells or brain like that. So when all these problems are caused, that is called phenylketonuria. How this phenylketonuria is caused? Due to an autosomal recessive condition, it is caused. Autosomal recessive gene. Where are this autosomal recessive? Which autosome that gene is present? It is present on the 12th chromosome. Remember. So you know that 22 pairs of autosomes are there. In that 12th chromosome, there is a dominant gene, means you will produce tyrosine. If that gene producing PHA enzyme become defective, what will happen? It will become phenylketonuria. So this is an example for autosomal recessive gene. Where that, which is that autosome? 12th human chromosome. Okay, a 3-mark question can be asked related to phenylketonuria. Make note of this point. Now remember, first 2 examples were X-linked recessive gene. Now I told you about autosomal recessive gene, one example. Please make note. I will continue. When you may be remembering that phenylketonuria, I told you already, it was reported by a scientist called Foley. Very recently, in 1984, like that, it was reported. Foley. Okay. The next disorder I am going to discuss here is about another 5-mark question called sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia we are going to discuss here, which is commonly called as SCA, it can be called sickle cell anemia. What is the speciality of this sickle cell anemia means? It is also a type of autosomal recessive gene only. Autosomal recessive gene disorder is responsible for causing the sickle cell anemia. Which autosome? 11th chromosome of our body. If it has got a defective gene, then it will be resulting in sickle cell anemia. 11th chromosome. Which gene in the 11th chromosome? Listen here. That gene is known as HBA gene, it can be called. If at all a person has got HbA gene, he will be having normal RBC in his blood. RBC will be normal in the blood of that person. So it is also a blood related disorder only. Okay. That normal RBC will be there in the blood if at all there is a HbA gene present in him. Suppose if this HbA gene undergoes modification, mutation, and if it becomes HbS gene, means the RBC will change its shape. It will become sickle shaped RBC. Remember this one. So whenever RBC becomes sickle shaped, when the HbA gene becomes HbS gene. Why it will become HbS gene? Due to mutation. So it will become sickle shaped RBC. Normal RBC, you know that it will be biconcave in shape. If this is becoming sickle shape, means it will become a structure like this. Sharp and hook-like structure it will become. That is called a sickle shaped structure it will be. You know, farmers are using the sickle for harvesting. That shape of RBC will be there in our blood. From this you can understand the genetics behind it or inheritance pattern behind it. Please listen. A normal RBC is caused due to HbA condition. Why do HbA? Because diploid individual. Paternal gene is also HbA, maternal gene is also HbA, means your RBC will become normal shaped RBC. Normal biconcave shaped RBC is present in our blood, means what genotype we have? HbA. Paternal also HbA, maternal also HbA. Suppose if a person has got HbS means the RBC will become sickle shaped and the disorder will be called sickle cell anemia. It can be found. So how is sickle cell anemia caused? Due to genotype HbS. What is HbS? It is a homozygosity. This is also heterozygosity. The question here is, what will happen due to sickle shape anemia or sickle cell anemia? Let the RBC be what in any shape. Why should we bother? Remember, when the RBC becomes sickle shaped, it will cause many problems in our blood or in our body. What are they? This sickle shaped RBC, they may clump together. Clumping of RBC will be taking place as a first defect here. They will not flow properly in the blood because they have become different shape, hook-like. So they will start to gather, they will start to attach themselves. That is the first point. Second thing is, when the RBC becomes sickle shaped, their oxygen carrying capacity will be reduced actually. Oxygen carrying capacity will be decreased by in that RBC. Now that hemoglobin cannot carry enough oxygen because it has become sickle shaped. Third defect is they may damage the blood vessel also. Damage the blood vessel. How they will damage the blood vessel? Due to their hook-shaped structure, they will go and adhere to the inner surface of the blood vessel. That will result in damaging, we can say. And the person will be suffering without energy also. The energy level will decrease because oxygen is not supplied. Hypoxia, it can become. These are the problems caused due to sickle cell anemia. Okay. Let us see now, is there any heterozygous condition? Suppose if your person has got HbA HBS genotype means how he will appear. This is called heterozygous. Please listen. In such a person, paternal gene is HPA, maternal gene is HBS, or vice versa. Remember, in such a person, 50% RBC will be normal in shape, and 50% RBC will be sickle in shape. Remember, 50% RBC will be sickle shaped and 50% will be normal shaped in this condition. What do you infer from this point? When there is heterozygosity, there will be two morphic conditions of RBC. That means both the genes are expressed. This will become normal, this will produce a sickle shape, we can imagine. Then can we not call it as an example for codominance? Do you understand this point? See, HBA, HBS condition of sickle cell anemia, heterozygous condition, is an example for codominance. Have you heard this word, codominance? In our AB blood group, I told you about IA, IB. Both will produce antigen A and antigen B. That will be becoming AB blood group. Similarly here also, both alleles are expressed means it is codominance. Any one of them is expressed means dominance. None of them is expressed but an intermediary character is expressed means incomplete dominance. Both are expressed means it is called codominance. So not only ABO system is codominant, even sickle cell anemia is also codominant. Remember. Finally, let me tell you how this sickle cell anemia is caused. What is the principle involved in this sickle cell anemia? How this defective gene produces sickle shaped anemia? We will see. Do you understand my point? Listen. When a person has got HBA genotype, when a person has got HBA genotype, in the hemoglobin of that person, hemoglobin is present in RBC. In that hemoglobin, there will be beta chain and alpha chains are present. I will explain it afterwards in thalassemia. Beta chain of the hemoglobin will be exhibiting normal condition. Please listen. The beta chain is there in the hemoglobin. That beta chain will be having many amino acids arranged in it. What is a beta chain? It is nothing but a polypeptide chain. What is polypeptide chain? Many amino acids are arranged. 1, 2, 3 like that. Some 100, 173 amino acids are arranged. Among them, 6th position, polypeptide beta chain 6th position of the beta chain will be containing glutamic acid in it. Try to get this point. If glutamic acid is present in the 6th position of beta chain of hemoglobin, that person will be having normal RBC, biconcave RBC. Do you got this point? What amino acid should be present? Glutamic acid. In which position? 6th position. In which chain? Beta chain of hemoglobin. What will be the genotype for having glutamic acid? HBA, HBA. Okay. Suppose if the gene undergoes modification, if both the paternal and maternal becomes HBS, HBS means what will happen? In that person, same hemoglobin, same beta chain, same 6th position will not have glutamic acid. It will be having valine amino acid in it. Valine amino acid will be present in it. If glutamic acid is present, it is normal. If valine is present, he will suffer due to sickle cell anemia. Do you understand my point? One amino acid gets altered, that's all. Remaining all amino acids are same, they are connected by peptide bond, everything is okay. Except for what? Sixth position. Now again the question is, sir, what is the difference between HBA and HBS? Please listen. In HBA, allele, sixth position of mRNA about DNA, mRNA, next lesson we will be discussing. Here, sixth position of mRNA will be containing the GAG codon in it. What is GAG? Guanine, adenine, guanine. These three bases will become one codon that will code for glutamic acid, means you will have normal RBC. Okay. What is the difference with the HBS gene means? In HBS gene, again the same sixth position of mRNA. The mRNA produced by HBS gene will be containing GUG in it. Instead of GAG, it is having GUG. Guanine, uracil guanine, guanine, adenine. Where is the difference? Just in one base, there is a difference. In this particular nucleotide, there is a difference. Instead of adenine, if you put a uracil, this will produce valine amino acid, and that valine will make our RBC sickle shaped actually. Glutamic acid will give you normal RBC, whereas a GUG will give you what is that, sickle shaped RBC. Dear students, just because of adenine, if uracil is replaced means, if uracil replaces adenine means, glutamic acid will be replaced by valine. Because of that, just one base, shape of RBC changes. Because of that simple RBC change, what is the shape of RBC, we suffer due to four problems. Our energy level will be reduced. Damage to the blood vessel, oxygen carrying capacity will be reduced. Pumping of RBC will be taking place. That's why it is called anemia. Remember this point. So, only one mutation, one nucleotide mutation. Do you get this point? Understanding about point mutation here. So this is called point mutation. Remember, are you understanding this point? So it is an example for point mutation. It is an example for codominance. Can I tell this as an example for pleiotropism also? Because of one gene change, we get so many defects. So many effects are caused in our body. So even it can be studied under pleiotropism also, just like phenylketonuria. Important 5-mark question. Sickle cell anemia is an important 5-mark question. Write the causes and effects of sickle cell anemia. What is the cause? HBA becomes HBS. What will be the effect? Shape of RBC will become sickle shape. What are the phenotypic changes you will observe? Even morphology of RBC is changing, that's okay. In addition to that, 4 more problems are created. Apart from that, I told you the mechanism of sickle cell anemia also. Which polypeptide chain is affected in hemoglobin beta chain? In which position? 6th position. What should be there? Glutamic acid. But what has come there? Valine. Why valine has come? Due to GAG modified into GUG. When GAG codon becomes GUG codon, it will result in sickle cell anemia. It is an example for point mutation, it is an example for codominance, it is an example for pleiotropism also. So, very important aspect of genic disorder, sickle cell anemia. I told you about 4 types of genic disorders so far. 2 X-linked recessive disorder, 2 autosomal recessive disorder. 2 X-linked recessive disorder, color blindness and hemophilia. 2 autosomal disorder, PKU, phenylketonuria and 12th chromosome. 6th sickle cell anemia and 11th chromosome. Do you get my point? Who discovered about, who talk about this one sickle cell anemia means another scientist called Herrick. Herrick is the name of the scientist who studied about sickle cell anemia for the first time. I think around the year 1803 like that he discovered about sickle cell anemia. Make note. It was hemophilia, I think it is 1903, 1904, Herrick discovered about sickle cell anemia. Normal anemia is different, sickle cell anemia is different. Please make note. We will continue later. Okay? Thank you.
ಸರ್ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ರೀ